Welcome back to ILTV on the Hour. We're bringing you the biggest headlines from Israel and the Middle East in just 5 minutes. I'm Devo Klein, and today is day 660 of the war in Gaza. Let's get into all of the top stories of the hour. We start our hour with developments in the Gaza war. This morning, the IDF released the names of 2 fallen soldiers. They were named as Captain Amir Saad, age 22, from Yanuch, and Sergeant Hinon Nuri Elvana, age 20, from Kiryat Tivon. Both soldiers served in the Golani Reconnaissance Unit. According to the IDF probe, the 2 soldiers fell in an explosion that was planted by Hamas terrorists that detonated near them in the south of the Gaza Strip. The publication of the 2 fallen follow a weekend announcement by the IDF of another fallen soldier. The fallen was named as Sergeant Major in the reserves, Bezalel Yoshua Mosbacher, age 32, from Avnei Eitan. Mosbacher was a combat engineer in the 828th Bislach Brigade. He was critically injured in operations on July 19th when his vehicle struck an explosive device in Khan Yunis, an explosion that left another soldier critically injured. Mosbacher over the weekend succumbed to his wounds. May all 3 rest in power, and may their memories be a blessing. And in further Gaza news, the IDF released several statements over the weekend, including a scheduled cessation of military activity in certain areas to facilitate the entrance and distribution of aid in the Gaza Strip, amid the rapidly worsening humanitarian situation in the enclave. In a dramatic video released by the IDF, boxes of aid are seen being dropped over the Gaza Strip. This is another attempt by the IDF to avoid Hamas interference. And in addition to the release of these videos, the IDF announced a new operation in cooperation between troops on the ground and Kogat. The IDF will pause operational activity in the following areas: Al-Mawasi, Deir el-Balach, and Gaza City from 10 a.m. Israel time Sunday until 8 p.m. Israel time for humanitarian purposes. The IDF have also designated a safe route for UN workers and humanitarian convoys to pass through the Strip safely to increase the distribution abilities within the Strip. This amid mass reporting that the Israeli military had withheld aid from entering the Strip, a myth now busted by IDF announcements and emerging footage. The IDF will pause operational activity and monitor the safe passage of aid to Gazans. This despite and in spite of global criticism and condemnation of Israeli operations within the Strip. And President Trump has made some stark comments over the weekend, urging Israel to finish the job in Gaza and destroy Hamas. This following the recent developments in ceasefire negotiations. Trump's impressions of Hamas's unwillingness to agree to any form of deal has pushed the American president to adapt a Netanyahu-like attitude toward IDF operations within the enclave. Let's take a quick look at the clip.
Yeah, Gaza, they pulled out of Gaza. They pulled out in terms of negotiating. It was too bad. Hamas didn't really want to make a deal. I think they want to die, and it's very, very bad.
Are you done?
And it got to be to a point where you're gonna have to finish the job. They really they asked for things. Don't forget, we got a lot of hostages out. So now we're down to the final hostages, and they know what happens after you get the final hostages. And basically, because of that, they really didn't want to make a deal. I saw that. So they pulled out, and they're going to have to fight, and they're going to have to clean it up. You're going to have to get rid of it.
And Trump is not the only one making strong comments. French President Emmanuel Macron has decided that France will recognize a Palestinian state in September. The announcement came via the French president's Twitter, in which he expressed that he has decided to make the announcement at the UN General Assembly in September. He called for a ceasefire for the release of all the hostages and decreed that recognizing a Palestinian state would bring peace. Very intuitive from Macron. He went on about a demilitarized Palestinian state that recognizes Israel that would lead to peace. Prime Minister Netanyahu has condemned Macron's tweets, and President Trump called his comments, quote, irrelevant. Well, there you have it. Those are our top headlines at this hour. We'll continue to update you on all of the developments today on the hour. In the meantime, you can keep up with us on our ILTV app by scanning the QR code on your screen. For now, I'm Devo Klein, and I will see you next time.